The hidden collapse of your magnetic power begins the exact second you tie your internal peace to how a man decides to treat you on any given day. You have been conditioned to believe that you must monitor his changing moods, his delayed text messages, and his subtle shifts in warmth, just to confirm that you are still worthy of basic respect. This constant state of hypervigilance turns your mind into a fragile territory, making you settle for low-effort interactions because you are terrified of the empty space created by his silence. When you operate from this baseline of deep lack, you are essentially asking an outsider to sign a certificate confirming your worth, handing him full executive control over your emotional climate. This exhausting performance is driven by the traditional golden retriever framework, a psychological trap where a woman continuously overinvests, performs acts of service, and offers infinite availability to secure a specific romantic outcome. You assume that by showing him how flexible, soft, and endlessly understanding you can be, you will eventually inspire him to treat your presence as a premium priority in his world. In reality, you have to understand that human nature takes for granted anything given in endless supply, without any form of mutual sacrifice or accountability. Your non-stop eagerness to bridge the distance simply trains an inconsistent partner to treat your vital attention as a low-cost commodity that requires no real effort to maintain. The black cat energy demands that you completely shatter this reactive hierarchy by recognizing that true, unshakable detachment is never an immature game of warfare, but a permanent state of mind. You become truly magnetic the moment you stop needing a man to behave in a specific way just so you can feel completely secure within your own skin. You must train your nervous system to view low-effort behavior not as a painful wound to your fragile identity, but as a clear disqualifier that renders his presence entirely irrelevant to your future plans. You do not lower your price or negotiate for basic reciprocity. You choose your own internal sanctuary, understanding that his choice of action is never a reflection of your intrinsic worth. True sovereignty means you stop asking the world for permission to feel good enough, shifting the focus away from being selected to becoming the final authority who evaluates. When you anchor your stability inside your own soul, the empty spaces of silence cease to trigger panic and instead become a magnificent field for your own personal expansion. You no longer require an external signature to know you deserve excellent circumstances, because the most important validation is the one you provide to yourself every single morning. When you master the art of emotional independence, your interest in low-tier dynamics simply clicks off without any need for dramatic confrontation or loud arguments. You move through your days with a serene peace, completely unbothered by outside confusion because your self-worth is already closed and locked from within. This profound internal shift transforms you into a magnetic being, a woman who treats her cognitive bandwidth like a luxury estate and evicts anyone who introduces confusion. You don't perform for approval or accept the role of an anxious pleaser because you already know that your time is a finite resource meant for genuine reciprocity. By refusing to fish for validation, you establish an elite baseline that instantly disarms inconsistent partners. You must recognize that trying to convince an inconsistent individual to see your value is a complete waste of your mental energy and a direct path to emotional depletion. A high-standard woman assumes that if a partner lacks the intelligence to appreciate her light, he simply lacks the capacity to occupy a seat in her orbit. You do not stay in the room to offer lengthy lectures or manage his emotional maturity. You protect your sanctuary by stepping back into the rich ecosystem of your own life. Your unavailability becomes the natural consequence of his choice, proving that you value your internal peace far more than you value his temporary presence. Every single second you spend scrolling through old conversations or overanalyzing a man's erratic micro-movements is a second you are actively stealing from your own goals. You are allowing an inconsistent connection to dictate your heart rate, to harm your focus at work, and to compromise the energy you bring into your friendships and family circles. A sovereign woman handles this stagnation by cleanly pulling her energy back, refusing to let an external situation disrupt her physical vitality or professional growth. You build a reality so full of authentic joy and satisfying projects that the presence or absence of a partner becomes an entirely secondary detail. The beauty of this unbothered posture is that it forces an immediate truth to manifest in your environment, acting as an automatic filter for low-effort dynamics. When you stop settling for a man's poor behavior, you force his subconscious mind to confront the true weight of his mediocrity. He is left without the warmth of your presence, having to face the fact that he does not deserve a woman like you. If he does not possess the maturity required to step up to your high standards, you remain entirely unbothered by his permanent departure from your life. You must overcome the nice girl fear of being forgotten, realizing that your dignified absence leaves a far deeper psychological footprint than your anxious compliance ever could. When you walk away from a standard violation without looking back, you are demonstrating that you are entirely complete on your own foundation. You do not need his validation to close the chapter, because your self-respect has already completed the work from within. You reclaim your crown, moving forward into your future with a clinical precision that ensures your energy is preserved exclusively for relationships that bring you joy and peace. Ultimately, mastering absolute detachment is the only mechanism that allows you to command the excellence you deserve in every single aspect of your existence. You stop playing the role of the understanding placeholder, and you step into the full power of the black cat as a sovereign force in the world. By locking your heavy gates to low investment dynamics, you ensure that your mind remains a clear sanctuary for your ongoing expansion. Subscribe to Black Cat Energy today to anchor these boundaries inside your mind and prepare yourself for the next stage of this framework, where we will observe this posture in action.
When Maya refused to fish for approval.
Maya sat quietly at a corner table of a vibrant downtown restaurant, checking her watch as the minutes ticked past their agreed dinner time. Over the last 7 months, she had been dating a man named David, allowing the relationship to unfold naturally while she balanced her demanding responsibilities as a clinical psychologist. Throughout this period, she maintained an incredibly rich life outside of his presence, dedicated to her professional growth, outdoor cycling along the coast, and painting abstract watercolor landscapes in her private studio. Maya loved bringing her close circle together, frequently hosting hearty Friday night dinners for her grandmother and her teenage younger brother, or meeting her 2 closest childhood friends to explore hidden downtown art galleries. Her internal world was stable and joyful, and she shared her energy with David only because his initial behavior had been consistently warm, supportive, and respectful of her boundaries. When David finally arrived 40 minutes late without a genuine apology, the dynamic experienced a calculated and unsettling shift. As the evening progressed, he began exhibiting dismissive behaviors and using subtle, critical remarks specifically designed to undermine her emotional independence and lower her confidence. He made passive-aggressive comments about her busy schedule, implying that she was not investing enough effort into the relationship and suggesting that she needed to work harder to earn his long-term dedication. A traditional golden retriever woman would have instantly internalized this critique, collapsing into a state of severe internal anxiety and overcompensating with endless acts of service to regain his favor. Maya, however, possessed the profound emotional autonomy of a black cat, meaning she did not allow his psychological games to dictate her self-worth or disrupt the internal peace she cultivated daily. Instead of taking the bait or engaging in an exhausting argument to defend her value, Maya looked at him with an unbothered composure, letting a heavy silence fill the space between them. She understood that a sovereign woman never explains her worth or negotiates for basic respect, so she used direct, assertive communication to state her exact standards clearly, without ever over-explaining her life. She calmly informed David that her lifestyle and her commitments were completely non-negotiable, and that she would never tolerate a dynamic where her efforts were minimized. Her voice was precise, steady, and free of emotional drama, signaling to his subconscious mind that she was entirely prepared to protect her internal sanctuary from any form of dismissiveness. The true test of her commitment to emotional freedom occurred 3 days later, when David attempted to bypass her stated boundary during a phone conversation. Instead of showing genuine accountability, he repeated his dismissive comments, attempting to twist the narrative to make her feel insecure and force her to fish for his temporary approval. Maya felt a flash of natural disappointment, but she refused to let that pain dictate her actions or pull her into a toxic cycle of people-pleasing. She instantly recognized the behavioral pattern of a drainer, trying to use her presence as a cheap utility, and she decided she would never leave the door open to a man who chose to disrespect her empire. Without raising her voice or offering a lengthy explanation, she calmly ended the conversation, closed the chapter from the inside and completely froze her warmth. Maya cleanly recollected her vital energy, stepping right back into the magnificent rhythm of her clinical practice, her cycling sessions, and the warm family dinners with her grandmother and brother. She did not seek closure, send follow-up text messages, or wait around for his permission to feel good enough, because she knew that the way an individual decides to act is never a reflection of her intrinsic worth. She understood that the ultimate validation is the one she provided to herself, independent of external applause or masculine validation. While David sat in the quiet canyon of his own mediocrity, waiting for her to panic and slide into his messages, Maya was completely at peace, totally detached from the final outcome of his confusion. By choosing to walk away from his unacceptable behavior without making an unnecessary scene, Maya established herself as the undisputed author of her own destiny. Her self-respect completed the work from within, allowing her to move forward into her future with a serene, unbothered grace that felt intensely magnetic to everyone around her. She did not allow the temporary sting of a failed connection to stall her professional growth, her creative passions, or the authentic joy she cultivated daily with her family and inner circle. Maya proved to herself that she was happy alone, but never solitary, refusing to accept being a placeholder for an individual who brought stagnation instead of stability to her universe. Maya's story demonstrates that the power of the black cat is never about pretending to be a cold, unfeeling robot, but about possessing the supreme courage to never let your actions be dictated by a fear of loss. She experienced the natural grief of a shattered connection, yet she chose to prioritize her own internal sanctuary over the low-effort crumbs of an inconsistent partner. By leaving a low-investment partner, she preserved her power and kept her energy clean. She stepped back onto her path of personal expansion with a deep peace and a quiet majesty, proving that a sovereign woman never begs for a place where her value is minimized.
The quiet shift to internal power.
The absolute refusal to participate in a negotiation for basic attention is the exact baseline where a woman resurrects her authentic magnetism. When an individual attempts to lower your standing through dismissive remarks or calculated distance, your old conditioning can lead you to offer more availability in a desperate move to correct the dynamic. This structural weakness is born from a deep illusion that an outsider holds the key to your emotional security and must validate your presence before you can feel complete. True authority manifests the very millisecond you understand that an erratic partner possesses absolutely no control over your mind, your peace, or the clean reality of your worth. You do not stay in the room to scream, argue, or present a detailed resume of your virtues to someone who is actively committed to treating you like a cheap option. Your willingness to exist entirely within the quiet sanctuary of your own completeness creates a powerful psychological vacuum that completely disarms low-effort behavior. An inconsistent man relies heavily on the predictable rhythm of your anxiety to reinforce his perception of control, counting on your texts to cushion the blow of his mediocrity. When he encounters an unyielding stillness instead of a frantic display of emotional panic, his entire strategy shatters against your composure. You are communicating through the absolute weight of your absence that your light is a premium resource that requires consistency and respect to remain accessible. This dignified silence is not an immature tactic designed to force a superficial chase, but the natural consequence of a high-standard life that simply moves forward when excellence is missing. This unwavering posture is beautifully mirrored in the silent majesty of a feline, an archetype that recognizes intuitively that its warmth is a luxury and never a public utility. A cat moves through its environment with an independent grace, never looking around to secure the approval of those sharing the room or performing tricks to earn a momentary glance. If a cat senses a sudden drop in ambient temperature, indifference, or a lack of welcoming energy, it does not launch into a loud display of frustration or demand an explanation. It simply lifts its head with absolute poise, turns its back with an elegant precision, and steps completely out of the space to enjoy its own sovereign presence in another room. When you embody this precise behavioral standard, you stop functioning as a reactive target and become an elite force whose missing light carries an immense weight. The modern nice girl destroys her internal alignment because she operates from the traditional golden retriever framework, an insecure state of mind where validation is constantly chased through endless acts of service. You find yourself dropping your price, accommodating disrespect, and accepting emotional breadcrumbs because the temporary discomfort of an empty space triggers an elevated heart rate. You falsely assume that your infinite patience will eventually inspire a low-effort man to step into the role of a dedicated partner, but human nature shows that people take for granted anything given an unlimited supply. Your nonstop eagerness to fix every awkward silence merely confirms to a dismissive individual that you lack the internal structural strength to walk out of a bad arrangement. By refusing to fish for external approval, you cut the energetic cord that keeps you trapped in stagnation. Your self-respect must complete the work from within your own soul, forcing a harsh truth to manifest in your environment without you needing to generate a single ounce of chaotic noise. A sovereign woman treats her cognitive bandwidth like a high-end estate, ruthlessly abandoning any connection that introduces confusion, hypervigilance, or anxiety into her reality. You build an independent lifestyle so profoundly rich with professional victories, personal creative pursuits, and fluid fitness habits that the physical movement of a man becomes an entirely secondary detail. You ensure that your emotional climate is entirely non-negotiable, remaining completely complete on your own foundation, while letting an inconsistent partner navigate the quiet desert he chose to build. You are happy alone but never solitary, keeping your doors closed against anyone who dismisses your affection. When a partner utilizes critical words to make you work harder for his attention, he is actively trying to train your nervous system into a permanent state of compliance. A high-value woman observes this manipulation with a cold analytical focus, instantly categorizing his low-effort stance as a fatal flaw that entirely kills her romantic interest. You do not waste your energy trying to reform a natural drainer or teaching an adult how to provide basic respect. You simply collect your energy and go. You walk away because mediocrity is an immediate turnoff, preserving your power for a connection that elevates your existence without stress. The dynamic shifts permanently the instant you realize that your presence is a prize that cannot be bought with cheap manipulation or empty promises. When you step completely into this protective mindset, your internal standard becomes an absolute fortress that screens out low-tier interactions before they can ever drain your stability. You cease to be an emotional gambler, hoping that a man's dismissive treatment will magically transform into consistent devotion if you just endure a little more discomfort. This absolute emotional closure sends an undeniable signal to the world that you are entirely complete without external validation. You no longer search the horizon for signs of interest, because you are fully preoccupied with expanding your own universe and protecting your peace. This sharp realignment means you view an individual's inability to match your standard as an objective proof of his low capacity, rather than allowing it to become a wound to your pride. You train your focus to look past his charm, assessing his reality strictly through his regular reliability and his genuine desire to make your path easier. If his output drops below your standards, your focus simply detaches from him, without the need for an exhausting explanation or a final argument. You do not leave the room to punish his ego or to test his desire to pursue you. You walk away because your baseline expectation has been breached, and you refuse to stay where you are undervalued. Your self-respect acts as a permanent filter, leaving him alone with his mediocrity, while you step back into your high-standard life. True sovereignty is forged when your heart rate remains entirely steady during the cold silence of a fractured relationship, refusing to bend under the social pressure to fix the distance. You consciously embrace the temporary void, understanding that a quiet space is a magnificent filter that forces an inconsistent partner to confront the reality of his actions. If he lacks the internal framework to cross that distance with clear intentions, you allow the silence to become a permanent boundary that closes the chapter forever. You choose the clean sovereignty of your own company over the exhausting labor of carrying a lopsided connection that adds nothing to your world. Ultimately, mastering this clean autonomy is the only mechanism that allows you to reclaim your position as the final judge and absolute authority of your own destiny. You actively strip an inconsistent individual of his perceived leverage, ensuring that your vital energy is never compromised by masculine indifference or erratic communication. By refusing to accept the role of a desperate pleaser who seeks permission to feel good enough, you secure your mental sovereignty and radiate a heavy, unbothered magnetism. Your life remains a peaceful territory where access is tightly controlled, reserved exclusively for those who bring security and match your frequency. Subscribe to Black Cat Energy right now to permanently anchor these high standards within your mind, and prepare yourself for the deep psychological breakdown in the next chapter. If you are ready to stop operating from anxiety and want a clear, highly objective blueprint to handle these dynamics with absolute precision, you need to read the Black Cat Playbook, a strategic manual for emotional independence and high-standard relationships. This direct digital guide bypasses abstract philosophy to give you practical, real-world tools for your daily interactions, showing you exactly how to structure your text responses and position your boundaries to maintain total emotional autonomy. It provides the definitive psychological keys to immediately identify the core differences between a natural drainer who depletes your peace and a true facilitator who actively makes your life easier, allowing you to seamlessly filter out low-tier investment and secure the high-standard alignment you deserve. You can find the Black Cat Playbook in the description down below.
Dismantling the need for approval.
The architecture of genuine emotional freedom requires a radical dismantling of the belief that your worth is a variable metric determined by masculine behavior. Nice girls are conditioned from childhood to view a partner as an emotional mirror, assuming that his immediate interest, quick text replies, and open praise are the only valid confirmations of their worth. When you live in this state of constant dependency, your internal world becomes a fragile territory, entirely vulnerable to his changing choices, delayed responses, and sudden shifts in warmth. True magnetism begins when you realize that your internal stability must be closed and locked from within, requiring absolutely no external signature to validate your presence. You stop searching for signs of his approval because you are already fully anchored in your own magnificent reality. This structural shift transforms how you experience a relationship, moving you away from a position of anxious negotiation and into a state of quiet authority. A woman who does not need a man to behave in a specific way to feel secure becomes a formidable, magnetic presence in any romantic dynamic she chooses to enter. She understands that masculine investment is a direct reflection of his own maturity and his capacity to make her life easier, not a final verdict on her personal value. When you master this perspective, the urge to fix every uncomfortable silence completely vanishes, leaving you entirely centered in your own space. You view his consistency as the minimum required for access, rather than a rare reward you must work twice as hard to secure. This supreme autonomy is beautifully illustrated in the confident posture of a feline, an entity that moves through the world with an unbothered composure. A cat never performs tricks or alters its natural movement to catch the eye of someone who chooses to look away or ignore its light in the room. It does not panic when a space becomes quiet. Instead, it rests comfortably within its own silent power, entirely satisfied with its own existence. If the environment becomes dismissive or lacks the appropriate appreciation, the cat simply leaves the room without a single drop of dramatic noise or chaotic confrontation. When you adopt this precise poise, you cease to be a predictable option and become an elite force whose boundaries are enforced with clean precision. The path of the people pleaser is illustrated by the Golden Retriever framework, an anxious loop where a woman drops her price and performs endless acts of service to protect a connection. You find yourself accommodating low-effort interactions, adjusting your lifestyle, and chasing external approval because you are deeply terrified of the empty void that follows a partner's distance. This desperation instantly strips you of all sovereignty, signaling to his subconscious mind that you will accept poor treatment just to keep him in your life. A high-value woman completely rejects this submissive posture, knowing that her devotion must be met with mutual dedication from day one. You refuse to accept being a placeholder, keeping your gates firmly locked against stagnation. To transition into this state of unbothered sovereignty, you must actively train your nervous system to tolerate the temporary sting of a failed dynamic without rushing to bridge the distance. Emotional pain is a natural human experience, but a sovereign force never allows that temporary discomfort to dictate her decisions or lower her standards. When a man creates an emotional vacuum through his dismissive words or dry communication, you must allow it to expand into a permanent boundary. You do not slide into his messages to fish for approval or seek an explanation for his mediocrity. You focus entirely on your own path, leaving him to face his emptiness, Your value is a fixed reality, completely independent of his limited capacity to treasure you. The power of the black cat manifests when your attraction to inconsistency simply clicks off, rendering a low-effort partner entirely irrelevant to your daily rhythm. You do not utilize silence as a manipulative game to trigger a superficial chase. Your unavailability is the dignified consequence of a high-standard life that refuses to settle. When a man proves through his calculated delays that he is a chronic drainer, you do not launch an educational campaign to instruct him on basic manners. You step away with absolute finality, choosing the pleasure of your own company over the exhausting labor of carrying a lopsided relationship. You hold the crown as the final authority, recognizing that a true facilitator is the only partner qualified for access. True communication is built on assertion and clarity, meaning you state your standards precisely without ever descending into a pattern of over-explaining your worth. If a relationship has a serious foundation and a boundary is breached, you communicate your expectation clearly exactly once, allowing your partner the space to correct his course. If he repeats the low-tier behavior or attempts to minimize your standards, you turn your back and walk away without looking back. A sovereign woman never offers a safety net for a man's indecision, nor does she grant second chances for micro-betrayals or lies designed to hide mediocrity. You understand that your warmth is an exclusive reward, reserved solely for those who demonstrate absolute respect. You must completely overcome the nice girl fear of being forgotten, realizing that your dignified absence leaves a far deeper psychological footprint than your anxious compliance ever could. When you remain entirely unbothered by his distance, you communicate to his subconscious that you are a woman of immense value who will never compromise her sanity. You are happy alone but never lonely, navigating your world with an unyielding grace that shields your internal peace from outside confusion. You step into a frequency of absolute power, observing actions with a clinical precision while keeping your heart calm and steady. This intense self-mastery elevates your entire reality, ensuring that you operate as a complete woman who commands a high standard of treatment in every single encounter. You effectively rewrite the rules of your interactions by proving that your attention cannot be won with superficial charm or low-tier hesitation. As you solidify this unbothered posture within your spirit, you become an unshakable force, capable of navigating any relationship with serene clarity and absolute power. Prepare your mindset to absorb the deep strategic insights ahead, as we look closer at how this clean autonomy acts as the ultimate filter.
Exposing the drainer trap.
The operational transition into absolute mental detachment requires an immediate surgical analysis of how a man interacts with you. In the modern dating landscape, every partner you choose to let past your walls will fundamentally function as either a facilitator or a drainer of your energy. A true facilitator is a high-value man whose behavior naturally aligns with your expansion, offering consistent support without demanding that you constantly shrink or perform for his temporary applause. He looks at your secure independence not as a modern threat to his fragile ego, but as a magnificent asset that makes the shared journey smooth, beautiful, and entirely free of emotional confusion. He operates from a baseline of organic clarity, reinforcing your path because his own structural foundation is completely solid. Conversely, a drainer is an inconsistent force driven by a deep psychological lack, utilizing the calculated withdrawal of validation as a form of control. This specific type of man is terrified of a woman who moves through her days with a serene, unbothered peace, because your self-sufficiency strips him of any artificial leverage. To correct this imbalance and force you into a submissive posture, he will intentionally make dismissive comments and display passive-aggressive behavior designed to humble you. He wants you to believe that your success is a direct threat, creating an emotional vacuum so you will slide into his territory to beg for his approval. He uses your natural desire for harmony to lock you into a reactive cycle, hoping to transform you into an anxious pleaser who relies entirely on his validation to feel good enough. The power of the black cat manifests in how cleanly your internal filter detects these opposing frequencies before they can introduce confusion into your psychological kingdom. When you operate from a position of absolute completion, you no longer gamble with your cognitive bandwidth or offer second chances to someone who seeks to lower your standards. This analytical posture mirrors the selective gaze of a feline, an entity that observes its environment with a calm, steady stillness from the dark. A cat never adjusts its posture to accommodate the hesitation of an unstable visitor, nor does it perform desperate movements when it is ignored. If the visitor approaches with disruptive tension, the cat simply blinks with absolute indifference, turns its back, and removes its valuable energy from the space entirely. When a high-value woman encounters a true facilitator, her unbothered posture creates a natural ecosystem of mutual expansion and seamless reciprocity. Because she does not require his validation to confirm her worth, his support is allowed to unfold organically, without the heavy pressure of emotional desperation. The facilitator feels an immediate respect for her absolute boundaries, understanding that her time is a finite premium luxury that must be protected through consistency and respect. He does not try to humble her progress or create stress to test her compliance. Instead, his presence actively makes her life easier, providing a stable foundation where her career goals and personal vitality can thrive over time. The result of this alignment is a profound peace that allows both individuals to grow without dynamic warfare. If the individual in your orbit is a natural drainer, the sovereign posture of an independent woman will instantly trigger his hidden malice and force his manipulation into the light. The moment you refuse to over-explain your life or fish for his temporary applause, his strategy begins to fail miserably against your stillness. Your emotional detachment prevents him from consuming your energy, which causes a severe shockwave to ripple through his fragile pride. Because he cannot use your anxiety to validate his need for control, he will often escalate his dismissive remarks, attempting to make you feel like an inadequate partner who must over-deliver warmth to be worthy. By remaining completely unmoved by his calculated distance, you force his true structural limitations to manifest clearly in the quiet room. Accepting the hidden agenda of an energy drainer ensures that you remain in a constant state of hypervigilance, destroying your professional performance and your mental health. When you stay in a lopsided dynamic trying to negotiate with an individual who actively tries to diminish your standard, you are choosing a low-tier position that drains your nervous system. He will continue to offer emotional breadcrumbs, treating your loyalty as a low-cost commodity, while ensuring you never feel secure enough to focus on your own personal growth. The definitive outcome of accepting this mediocrity is the total stagnation of your unique path, leaving you exhausted, anxious, and deeply disconnected from your natural sovereignty. A black cat rejects this submissive trap with absolute finality, choosing the clean air of her own company over his toxic chaos. When you observe these behavioral patterns with clinical precision, you understand that a man's choice to minimize your light is never an accurate reflection of your intrinsic value. A high-standard woman treats masculine indifference not as a painful wound to be healed through infinite tolerance, but as an immediate disqualifier that closes the door from the inside. You do not initiate long educational conversations to teach an adult how to respect your presence. If his actions introduce confusion instead of stability, you simply recollect your vital energy and open the door for his permanent exit without a single drop of dramatic noise. You protect your sanctuary with an iron will, ensuring your energy is reserved exclusively for a high-value partner. The true beauty of this analytical filter is that it allows you to walk away from standard violations before your energy is completely depleted by a manipulative connection. You become entirely comfortable with the absolute vacuum created by your quiet departure, allowing the silent canyon to exist between you, like an open desert, without rushing to bridge the distance. You move forward with a serene grace, completely unbothered by his confusion, because your self-worth was never on the table. Mastering the distinction between a facilitator and a drainer within the theme of detachment is the only mechanism that allows you to command the supreme excellence you deserve. You stop functioning as a reactive target who waits around for masculine approval, and you step into the full power of the black cat as a sovereign force. Your existence is a magnificent masterpiece that stands entirely solid on its own merit, requiring absolutely no external applause to feel completely whole. By anchoring this sharp psychological filter deep inside your spirit, you ensure that your mind remains a clear sanctuary for your ongoing personal evolution. Stay completely centered. Maintain your serene posture as we move forward into the actionable strategies, and prepare your mind to execute the precise rules of the playbook.
The Playbook for Mastering Detachment.
True emotional independence requires you to transition from an anxious pleaser who constantly attempts to fix lopsided dynamics into a strategic evaluator who operates with absolute clarity. The first tactical movement in this playbook demands that you freeze your warmth the exact millisecond you identify the presence of dismissive patterns or low-tier hesitation. When an individual chooses to delay his communication or minimize your achievements, you do not launch an educational campaign to lecture him on basic manners, nor do you demand an immediate conversation to fix the awkward tension. You cleanly recollect your vital focus and allow a quiet space to stretch between you both, choosing the peaceful sanctuary of your own daily routine over the exhausting labor of chasing his approval. The second rule of this framework requires you to master the art of direct, assertive communication without ever descending into a pattern of over-explaining your personal worth. If a relationship has established a serious foundation and a standard is breached, you communicate your expectation clearly exactly once. You do not shout, make an unnecessary scene, or perform long dramatic monologues that reveal your internal panic. Your voice must remain steady, presenting your standards as a non-negotiable reality of your universe, rather than a desperate plea for masculine validation. If he possesses the integrity of a true facilitator, he will naturally adjust his actions to protect your peace without you needing to beg. The third step demands that you completely match his silence with an even deeper, more absolute detachment, treating his calculated distance as an automatic disqualifier for further access. When a partner attempts to use withdrawal as a manipulative tool to humble your confidence, you do not slide into his world to fish for validation. You allow his casual greetings or delayed check-ins to sit unresolved, responding only when your calendar genuinely permits and never rewarding his low-effort behavior with instant enthusiasm. This clean boundary communicates to his ego that you do not require his permission to feel that you are good enough, and that your presence is a prize that can only be retained through consistent reliability. The fourth guideline dictates that you ruthlessly protect your cognitive bandwidth, instantly redirecting your focus back into your personal goals. You must cultivate an independent lifestyle so profoundly rich with authentic joy and personal victories that the presence or absence of a partner becomes secondary. When an inconsistent connection attempts to agitate your nervous system, you handle the stagnation by diving deeper into all the other aspects of your life, keeping your energy clean. The final step of this playbook is the supreme courage to leave a low-investment partner without looking back. If you have communicated your standards clearly, and the individual repeats the dismissive behavior, you gather your energy and walk away with absolute finality. You do not offer a safety net for his indecision, nor do you grant second chances for micro-betrayals or lies designed to hide mediocrity from your view. Your self-respect completes the work from within, allowing you to transition back into your successful routine with a serene, unbothered composure that shields your internal peace from outside confusion. You remain entirely complete on your own solid foundation, locked tight against confusion, knowing you deserve absolute excellence. By anchoring these 5 actionable rules deep within your spirit, you permanently shatter the traditional nice girl habits that keep you anxious and hyper-vigilant in your connections. You stop functioning as a reactive target who over-delivers warmth for less investment, and you step into the full power of the black cat as a sovereign force. You validate yourself through your own choices every single morning, independent of masculine applause or external validation. Keep your posture firm, maintain your unbothered stance as we advance toward the final call, and prepare to solidify your authority over your world.
Reclaiming your unbothered mind.
The profound shift into absolute mental detachment marks the definitive moment where you permanently step away from the exhausting cycle of people-pleasing. You no longer wander through your connections looking for external validation to confirm your worth, because your valuation has already been closed and locked from within your own soul. By choosing to let a low-effort partner execute his own departure from your universe, you preserve your energy and your mental health for a life that is truly rich, balanced, and stable. You stand entirely solid on your own foundation, moving through your personal goals and genuine social circles with a serene and unbothered majesty. Your time is a finite luxury, and you are finally ready to treat it with the supreme respect it demands. The true power of the black cat is never about hiding away from the world or pretending that you lack deep human feelings, but about maintaining your serene posture when a connection fails to match your frequency. You recognize that experiencing the temporary sting of a failed dynamic is simply part of the journey, yet you refuse to let that discomfort lower your standards. You hold your head high, knowing that the way a man chooses to act is a reflection of his limitation and can never diminish your intrinsic value. This unbothered composure transforms you into an incredibly magnetic force, attracting people and situations that naturally facilitate your peace and celebrate your unique brilliance. You are entirely whole by yourself, and you refuse to settle for breadcrumbs. As you look forward to your future, remember that a magnificent empire is only built by those who possess the supreme courage to lock their heavy iron gates against mediocrity. You do not offer endless second chances or compromise your boundaries to protect the comfort of a drainer who agitates your nervous system. Your commitment to your ongoing personal expansion ensures that every interaction must be met with clean reciprocity and consistency from day one. You allow your genuine friendships, satisfying creative passions, and personal health habits to flourish in the light of your self-validation. You are happy alone, but never lonely, commanding a high-standard existence that remains entirely complete on its own solid foundation. To help expand this collective sanctuary and break the cycle of silent compliance, I want you to share your own journey in the comment section below. Tell us about a specific past relationship or situation where an inconsistent partner actively tried to diminish your value, humble your progress, or withhold validation as a calculated mechanism of emotional control. By bringing these toxic patterns out into the open air, you strip those manipulative dynamics of their lingering psychological power over your current reality. Sharing your story allows other women in this community to recognize the hidden traps of a low-value man, reinforcing our shared commitment to absolute sovereignty. Your voice is a vital asset to this sisterhood, and your breakthrough will serve as a definitive blueprint for someone else who is currently struggling to find her footing in the darkness. If you found this strategic breakdown valuable and want to ensure you never lose your footing in your emotional independence, subscribe to Black Cat Energy right now. By aligning your mind with this framework, you are giving yourself the precise tools required to navigate any romantic relationship with absolute power and clinical precision. To deeply anchor these boundaries inside your spirit and understand why withdrawing your presence is the most lethal response to disrespect, click on the card on your screen right now to watch our definitive breakdown on why your absence is your ultimate power. Maintain your unbothered stance, and I will see you in the next video.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next video.